Iran just launched an attack on Israel. This was the first time in history Iran has directly attacked Israel, and it can lead to a disastrous future. Every nation in the world is worried the situation is so delicate that President Biden had to rush back to the White House, cutting his trip to Delaware short. Top U.S. officials are still locked in the Situation Room, trying to contain the fallout. A senior U.S. official believes that the possibility of a direct war between Israel and Iran has never been higher. So, in today's video, let's go over what did Israel do to provoke Iran to launch such a public attack, what Israel plans to do in response, and can this lead to an all-out war? The story behind this attack actually doesn't start on April 13th. In fact, it started weeks earlier. Anyone following this war already knows that Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen are all backed by Iran. Israel is already fighting Hamas. They've been getting into some back and forth with Hezbollah on their border, and the Houthis, well, they've been causing a lot of chaos in the Red Sea until Israel agrees to a ceasefire. If you want any more details on any of these, I have videos on my channel, and there are a bunch more on YouTube. I don't really want to waste your time repeating the same info here again. Now, when Hamas attacked on October 7, everyone believed that Iran was behind the attack. Somehow Iran denied it, and even Israel denied it at the time. But for those of you who know the Middle East Cold War, it was hard to accept that Iran had nothing to do with it. Then on April 1st, almost 6 months after the Hamas attack, the Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria, was hit by 6 missiles from an F-35 jet. This attack killed 11 people, including and high-ranking Iranian intelligence and security officials. Iran publicly confirmed that this strike was made by Israel, and Iran will retaliate to avenge its loss. Israel did not publicly deny or confirm that it was behind the strike, but some Israeli officials have confirmed privately to the New York Times that Israel was behind this action. This is an unprecedented escalation for many different reasons, as I'll soon discuss. The first one being it was an Iranian consulate. According to the Vienna Convention, all diplomatic premises have special protection. This is the basis of international law. In order, no matter how dire the situation, never attack a diplomatic building or arrest diplomats. A country can always ask a diplomat to leave its borders, but never anything more without the permission of the other nation. Now, of course, Israel has argued that there were military personnel in the building, meaning it's not a diplomatic building. It can also bring up the point that the building was in Syria. According to the Vienna Convention, the host nation is supposed to protect the diplomats and premises. Israel is a third-party nation, thus it did not break the Vienna Convention. It can probably argue dozens of other things, but at the end of the day, the decision to attack the consulate was against the spirit of the Vienna Convention. And no doubt this decision was not made lightly. So the question arises, why did Israel make this decision? What made the situation so dire that it had to attack? Let's look at who was in the building. Maybe that can answer the question as to why attack a consulate. Iran said the Israeli strike killed an Iranian general, Mohammad Reza Zahi, along with his deputy, a third general, and 4 other people, including senior officials of Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is an Iranian affiliate that is also fighting in Gaza. Zaidi was likely the main target. He was in charge of Iran's military relationship with Syria and Lebanon, and is considered the most important assassination of an Iranian leader in years. He had helped oversee Iran's attempt to build a ring of fire around Israel via its militant proxies, while keeping Tehran's involvement at arm's length. Because of him, Iran was able to supply weapons and missiles to Hezbollah while staying under the radar. He was important, but he was not irreplaceable. In fact, pretty much everybody important in Iran is replaceable. The leaders know that that's the game they're playing. The US killed Soleimani. If a few years back, a big blow for sure, but they replaced him then. Just in December of last year, Israel again killed a high-level military target, Razi Mossavi. And now Zaidi, all important people in the Iranian regime, but not someone whose loss will halt the country's military ambitions. This is all to say Zaidi was important, but he was not important enough to kill that Israel had to strike the consulate. So maybe the reason was something else. Actually, it's pretty likely that it was something else. This is where the US comes into the story. The US has been a big supporter of Israel. In fact, it's still a big supporter. That support has been weakening just a little recently. The US abstained from a vote demanding Israel to create a ceasefire, while every other nation voted in favor of the resolution. Now, of course, this was not the US going against Israel. but the trend was probably worrying for Netanyahu's government. So far, the US was the only vote in support of Israel on the Security Council, and now even that seems to be going away. On top of that, there is also a lot of pressure on Biden to push Israel for ceasefire as he is campaigning for a second term. Many experts believe that the Israeli strike on the Iranian consulate was a calculated move to get Iran to attack back in retaliation, which will then force the US and allies to up their support in order to protect Israel. Of course, we can't know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but this theory does seem to hold true. And it's not just experts who think that this is likely the case. Even President Biden has shown concern that that is what Israel is aiming for. So when Iran launched its attack on Saturday evening, it started with the Iranian Navy capturing an Israeli-owned cargo ship. Then reports of dozens, maybe hundreds of drones heading towards Israel were made public. The US and allies like Britain, France, and even Jordan intercepted the drones while they were on their way to Israel. On top of this, Israel's dome was activated. It intercepted most of the rest of the drones and missiles. In total, Iran had sent 350 drones and missiles, and 99% of them were destroyed in the air. There was some infrastructure damage at an Air Force base. Luckily, no one was killed, but one 4-year-old girl was injured pretty badly. While many argued that this was a weak attack from Iran, meant to just send a message, it's hard to call it weak when there were like 300+ missiles flying towards the country. Sending a message was likely the goal anyways, as Iran's chief of staff announced in a statement that the attack is over and that they have no plans to continue an assault on Israel unless, of course, Israel escalates. This was the first time Israel was attacked directly from Iranian soil, leading many to fear that this is the start of a regional conflict or maybe even World War II. Now Israel has promised it will retaliate in 24 to 48 hours. What this retaliation could be is anyone's guess right now. Will Israel attack on Iranian soil? Will it want allies? Or will cooler heads prevail and peace terms be negotiated? While the US has publicly said it doesn't seek escalation, President Biden has also confirmed the US promise to defend Israel is ironclad. This is fast-moving news. It's possible by the time I edit this video, more will have happened. I highly recommend you subscribe to my. It takes 2 minutes every day to read. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on geopolitical news.